Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Always Receiving Nur, weekly Quran studies. This week is, we have at the moment a Ramadan series, and this is about some shorter surahs. This time it's about Surah 57, Surah Al-Hadid, or the iron. And before we start, let's maybe just remember what we are doing here at the moment. It's Ramadan, it's a month of the Quran, and you are encouraged to read Quran and listen to it. And why is that so important for us? And there's maybe just a little story. So I have a professor in Germany, and he last time sent an email that his wife died without pain and without fear, and he was very grateful for this. And then I thought that's kind of a nice goal for life, to get ready to not fear death when it's actually coming. So this is my contribution to the question why it is important to engage in Quran and to listen to it, because as a source of guidance. And with this I will just hand over to Sister Yamina and do my job in muting everyone.
Thank you, Andrea. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So we started reading this beautiful surah, Surah Al-Hadid, last week. And so far, the first 6 ayat of this surah that we went through last week, we saw how they point to the ayat al-takwiniya, the signs, the ayat in creation, or we can call them the creational signs. And this way they introduced God as the one to whom everything makes tasbih in the first ayat, and is mighty, the wise. We were also told that he is the one who has sovereignty over the heavens and the earth. He gives life and causes to die, and he has power over all things. And he is the first and the last, and the outward as well as the inward, and he has full knowledge of everything. So he not only he has power, but also he has full knowledge of everything. He creates the heavens and the earth, and he knows everything in there, and he's with us wherever we are, and he sees all what we do. He's sovereign over everything, again, we are told, and all matters return to him. Which again is another expression of he's the first and the last. He's the source of everything, and everything returns to him. And in Ayah 6, says, he makes night merge into day, and day into night, and he knows what is in every heart. يولج الليل في النهار ويولج النهار في الليل وهو عليم بذات الصدور. Which means that he makes the night grow longer by shortening the day, and then makes the day grow longer by shortening the night, and he has full knowledge of what is in the hearts. Here it says alimun bidati sudur. Sudur is the plural of sadr, or chest, and the heart is within the chest. Of course, here it's not about the physical chest and the physical heart, not the flesh. The heart in the Quran is the seat of reasoning, aql, and of reflecting, tadabbur. So for instance, we are told in ayah 22:47, 22:46. أفلم يسيروا في الأرض فتكون لهم قلوب يعقلون بها أو آذان يسمعون بها فإنها لا تعمى الأبصار ولكن تعمى القلوب التي في الصدور. Have they not traveled about the earth? Have they not traveled around the earth? And do they reason with, sorry, the hearts came before, hearts to reason with or ears to hear with? So just like our ears hear, the hearts reason. Yet truly it is not their eyes which are blind, but the hearts in the breasts which are blind. It means a heart that is not reasoning. If we don't reason together in harmony with the heart, or the reasoning is a function of the heart, whether we are conscious of it or not. When we are unconscious of it, we think they are two separate, but actually what we are doing is justifying, using our reasoning to justify our whims, instead of clarifying and aligning and purifying our emotion and our heart through proper reasoning that we learn through the Quran. And reflection, as it says in Ayah 47:24. So the 24th Ayah of Surah 47. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Will they not then reflect over the Quran, or are there locks upon their hearts? So when the hearts, our hearts need to be open. You remember the inshirah, open and expand, in order to reflect on the Quran. And when there are locks on our hearts, then we cannot reflect on the Quran. So what we do is, the more we reflect on the Quran, inshallah, the more our hearts will be open, the more we will learn to reflect and with our heart, which is the true reasoning, the fair, the just reasoning, the compassionate reasoning. Interestingly, so you see the first ayat were all about afaq, about the outer world, how everything makes tasbih to God, how He knows everything, He creates everything, He has power over everything. But then it comes, why are we told all these things? Because it is relevant to who we are and our relationship with God. So we have been so far reminded of the ayat in creation, in the afaq, as evidence to who God is. He owns everything, He has power over everything, He knows everything. And one may say, okay, God creates everything and He owns everything and He knows everything. So what is it to me? And people do say this, okay, I mean, God, as if God is something out there. Even if He's there, I don't see the relationship, the connection with myself. But the fact is that if He knows everything, therefore He knows what is in our hearts. And therefore if He has power over everything, therefore He alone can help us. And so we seek help from Him alone. And we are grateful to Him alone. If He's the one who creates everything and who gives everything, then we can only be grateful to Him only. And if He alone knows the purpose of our creation, because He knows everything, He created us on purpose. He is Al-Aziz Al-Hakim. He creates everything with purpose, with wisdom, with meaning. Then He alone can guide us to that purpose. And therefore we listen and pay heed to the guidance He sends us through His messengers. And through the creation, He sends us guidance through the creation as well. And we follow that guidance and we are grateful for it. And it is when we realize this in our heart that we truly know God and we can trust Him alone and surrender to Him alone. So it is not enough to know God out there. All that evidence needs to be confirmed inside our hearts. And you can think of it the other way around. If I believe that all the property that has been entrusted to me is mine, if I have that illusion, and it's mine, and therefore I use it as I wish, for instance, then I cannot truly confirm that God is the owner of all things and that He's sovereign over all that exists. If I think my life is mine and I do whatever I want with it, if I have that feeling inside of me, I cannot truly say that, yes, Sadaqallahu al-Azim, when He says that He is the sovereign over everything, Malikus samawati wal ard, this is true. I cannot truly say it. Even if I think that I believe it, that belief is very weak. It needs to be confirmed in the heart, in my inner conviction, in my own life, in my own, what I call mine. So, and it means that in order to confirm the truth of this ayat, we need to surrender our fictitious sovereignty to God and act as Khalifa only in His name, Bismillah. So when we are told He makes the night merge into the day and the day into the night, and He knows what is in every heart. Here, the day and night is one perspective an indication to time passing, and therefore to transience, the transience of everything. And He is the creator of time. He is the creator of this train of life, and everything is under control only. And therefore, if He has control over everything, if He knows everything, including what's in our heart. This means that there is no way to hide Him, to ignore this reality. Ignoring will be like an ostrich, putting our head in the sand. Doesn't mean that just because I don't see it or I ignore it, it doesn't mean that it's not there, that's not the reality. We would only be deluding ourselves. And so we have to be careful, because sometimes we may lie to ourselves and we remain unaware of what's in our hearts, but it doesn't mean that it is not known. So we'd better clean it up, because He knows everything. And we can also ask for help. With that intention, to ask for help for Allah to clean our hearts, it means we are ready to surrender. We are not resisting. We're not claiming, no, it's mine and I will decide about how to live my life. Because it's not mine. And at the end, after we die or at the moment of death, we will realize that it was all in vain, unless it is invested in something lasting, in something eternal, in something not temporary, in something, lasting, let's say. So either we don't believe at all and we don't realize our need for guidance, or we claim we believe in God and we think within ourselves that we believe in God and Akhirah, but the way we live our life and make choices and act is truly what we believe in. So everyone can check themselves. We look into our heart, into how we live our life. That is a reflection of our true belief. Because again, if we are not aware of our guidance, we do not feel that need in our hearts. And we imagine that we have everything planned and figured out, when actually our plans and choices are all based on the assumption that we will live in this world forever. An assumption that is totally illusory, that is based on an illusion. And we forget that we may leave this world tomorrow. So remembering death and remembering the transience of everything, including our life, is a very good way to keep checking on that we are again and again surrendering to God alone. And this is one of the ayat of this day and night being repeated in the Quran again and again. It's very useful, and the Prophet ﷺ remind the Sahaba, the companion, about the transience of life and the death, that we all be tasting death. As said in every meeting they met, subhanAllah, because there is so much wisdom and hikmah in remembering death. Because it destroys that illusion that we are staying here forever. But if we live with the illusion, then we would be wasting our life, literally wasting it. So if we imagine we have goals in life that do not align with the purpose set to us by our Creator, through the very way we have been created as human being, and as we have been told and taught in the Quran explicitly, then we'd better make istighfar and check our hearts and choose and decide, inshallah, to truly and sincerely believe in God, which means to live according to divine guidance and not to pay it lip service only. Therefore, we are told, the next ayah, ayah 7, believe then in God and in His Messenger, and give out of what He has made you trustees. For those of you who believe and who give shall have a great reward. So in ayah 7, we are told to believe in God and in His Messenger, and to give out of what He has made us trustees. And we are told that those of us who believe and who give shall have a great reward. And the ayah is آمنوا بالله ورسوله وأنفقوا مما جعلكم مستخلفين فيه فالذين آمنوا منكم وأنفقوا لهم أجر كبير. So since God is the possessor of everything, He has sovereignty over everything, He has power over everything, what we possess is only a trust from God, an amana, and therefore we need to be aware of this reality. So we use whatever has been given to us, not only property, but life and whatever talents you think you have, and memory and sight and everything that comes with life, and time and everything, in conformity to divine guidance. We do not betray the trust, and so that bears fruits. Our life bears fruits in this world, and lasting fruits, inshallah, that will last in the next, inshallah. So from this ayah 7, believe then in God and His Messenger, we understand that belief in God is not only claiming, or it is not only about not denying the existence of God. That's only the beginning. But there is more. There is something called iman al-yaqini. There is this yaqeen, this certainty, this knowing, so being sure, and knowing that yields to action, that yields to living. We live according to our beliefs, so it's easy to check what we truly believe in. And if we believe in God and Akhirah and in the hereafter, then we should see it in our life, in our decisions, in our choices. So belief itself is an action. Like in the Quran, often there is mention of الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يُؤْمِنُونَ. It's a verb. So although there is al-mu'minun, but here it says the belief itself, it's not a final status, but a constant way of being. A constant believing is something that we choose and do all the time. We can't just say, okay, I believed, full stop, now I can do whatever I want. That's it. That contradicts Iman. So that's why in the Quran we are told, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا آمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَالْكِتَابِ. O you who have believed, believe in God and His messenger. And even it doesn't say يَا أَيُّهَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ آمِنُوا. So those who have believed, believe in God and His messenger. So Iman is supposed to move our hearts to act in a beautiful way with ihsan. And Iman often appears in the Quran together with amal salih, with righteous deeds. Otherwise, a belief that causes us to do ugly things is questionable, or in that particular area, there is a lack of connection, a lack of belief in that particular time. Because belief is supposed to make us more compassionate, more generous, more act in a beautiful way, in a righteous way. And that's why it is said in the Quran, بِئْسَ مَا يَأْمُرُكُمْ بِهِ إِيمَانُكُمْ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. It says, how miserable indeed is what your belief orders you of, if you are believers. So belief, Iman, orders you to do something, and if that thing is miserable, it says, are you believers? Are you believers in God and in goodness? It means, yes, you are believers, but you are believers in something else, probably. So Iman entails taqwa, we are told, like in Surah 5, in different ayat, for instance, 57, 88, 112. It's an expression that you all heard. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. Be God conscious if you are truly believers. The believers, they are those who pay heed unto God and His apostle, His messenger, His Rasul. That's why we are told, وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. If you are believers, then pay heed unto God and His messengers. And then we are told, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنِينَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهَ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. So this is the very beginning of Surah 8. We are told, truly, believers are only they whose hearts tremble with awe whenever God is mentioned. Subhanallah. So how do we know the believer? How do we know each one? How do I know I am a believer? When God is mentioned, you feel the awe, your heart trembles. And whose faith is strengthened whenever His messengers, His ayat, are conveyed unto them. Whenever you hear a new ayah, subhanallah, whether in creation or in the Quran, it reinforces and strengthens your iman. And who in their sustainers only place their trust. They trust their Rabb. وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. And only they trust they place their trust only in their Rabb. Subhanallah. And this believers put their trust in God is repeated in the Quran also, again and again, like وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Only on God let the believers place their trust. The believers surrender to God and follow His guidance, we are told. Whenever God and His messengers have decided a matter, we are told in Ayah 36 of Surah 33, it is not for a believing man or a believing woman, there is an emphasis, to claim freedom of choice in so far as they themselves are concerned. For he who rebels against God and His messengers has already most obviously gone astray. وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا مُبِينًا. So it is very important to follow the guidance. When we are not following the guidance, says you are disobeying. Of course, if we're doing it knowingly, if we don't know that there is a guidance in that particular area, then it's another matter. But we are supposed to be striving to learn and ask, what is the guidance in this matter? What did the messenger of God teach about this matter? How did he live? How did he understand it? How did he practice it? When something like this happened, was he angry? What did he do with his anger? How did he forgive people? How come I cannot forgive? Why? So we are told in Ayah 7, believe then in God and His messenger and give out of what He has made you trustees. The introduction of the Rasul here, it's the first time that it was all about God. And in Ayah 7, there is the mention of the Rasul. And that's also an indication that denotes that Iman needs to be lived. How? Follow the messenger. If there was nothing to be lived, there would be no need for the messenger. And right after the mention of the messenger, we are told, and give out. And it is an imperative, it's a command, give out of what He has given you, what He has made you trustees of, what He has entrusted you. So how does belief lead to giving? Or what is the connection between the two? Giving is directly related to ownership. Who is the owner of what we have? Because if we can't give and share, what is it a sign of? It's an indication that we think that our property is truly ours. It's mine. I cannot share it. So why should we give it? Why should we share it? Or it could be an indication that we are afraid that we won't have enough. Yes, God gave it to me somehow in the beginning. I never really thought about it, never reflected about it. But if we give it, it won't be enough for me. And again, this is a sign that we believe that the source of the blessing is limited and it is finite. And so our perception of God is not of the giver, that of plenty, the bestower who gives all the time. Somehow He gave me in the beginning, but it is finite and limited, and so I cannot share it. or it's truly mine. Why should I even? I'm the one who worked for it. I earned it. Why should I give it? I'll give it when I want, as much as I want, if I ever give. So therefore, genuine belief in God as the one who owns everything, as we've been told in this surah, has sovereignty over everything, leads to the certainty that He alone is the giver. He's the giver all the time, from the beginning to the end. He's the first and the last, the inward and the outward. And it means, as far as we're concerned, He's the giver here and now, not only at the beginning. And so if He says share and give, we share and give. And as we share and give, we realize firsthand that He indeed is the giver here and now. And He's the one who causes us to give. He's the one who causes He gives us even the compassion that moves us to share with others. So He's the compassionate, He's the helper, He's the giver. And we become more and more aware of His constant giving to us. I give, and then somehow, again, it is replenished. So the reward of giving from what we are given is this awareness of the abundance of that God is the giver all the time. He's the bestower, He's generous, He's the helper, He's the compassionate. And that means that the more our awareness that we are giving, not out of our property, but of what God has entrusted us with, is entrusting us with right now, increases, the more that awareness increases, and the more our willingness to surrender, because I may know that and still I'm not willing to surrender to the divine will in the Quran and in creation, because in creation also, when we see someone needy, we are endowed with that feeling of compassion and that need and urge to help and give. When our willingness to surrender and act according to the divine will increases, the more then we realize that we are being constantly given. Everything is constantly being given, including life, including our breathing, our seeing, our hearing, our tasting, everything. And this is the reward, not only in this world, but also in the hereafter, because He is the giver here and now and forever. So there is a reward for us here, and there is that reward, the aspect that looks to akhirah, that looks to eternity, that looks to God, is a reward to the soul, to the heart, because they can only find peace when they know God, and they know that they are being taken care of here and now and always. And only then we can truly trust God and surrender to Him. So the reward is truly great, as we are told in the ayah. And after that, so the practice of Iman, as we practice this in our life, as we give, it increases our yaqeen, our certainty, and it reinforces, it strengthens our Iman. And but at the same time, our trust in God. And we feel it as our heart expands in shirah al-qalb. The next ayahs, ayat 8 and 9, expands on the iman part of ayah 7, and ayat 10 expands on the giving part of 7. So why should you not believe in God when the messenger calls you to believe in your Rabb, and when God has already taken a pledge from you, if you are believers? If you are believers has been interpreted as if you can believe anything on the basis of sound evidence. So God's taking a pledge is repeated in the Quran many, many times. It has been understood as referring to the faculty of reasoning with which God has endowed people in order to enable us to grasp the evidence of God's existence by observing the effects of his creative activities, like in the first ayats. Because those first ayats are not only to read and understand. We cannot truly understand and truly confirm them in our heart until we go out and actually observe the creation and actually surrender and prostrate in awe before his creativity and his power and his knowledge. And this power, we have been given this faculty of understanding and reasoning and figuring out that all this creativity is a sign pointing to something beyond, pointing to a source of power and knowledge and all the divine names. And so that's the pledge. We have been created with that ability. So the pledge has been understood as a reference to this faculty. And so believers means if you can believe anything on the basis of sound evidence. We have been given this ability that we believe when we have evidence. Another way of understanding it is as reference to the fitrah in general, including the reasoning. And we all know, because we all know deep down that truly, before we start reasoning, we know that truly our life is not our property, that it is given to us here and now. If we stop and hear and listen, we know. We haven't chosen who to be, where to be born, to which family, in which geography. Clearly, we are being created. Clearly, we are being made. Clearly, we are being changed. We are being sustained. Clearly, we are the property of something, someone else. And that reminds us of the ayah in Surah Al-A'raf, ayah 172 of Surah 7, when we are told, Alastu bi rabbikum, which human beings, the children of Adam, we are told, are asked, asks the children of Adam, am I not your Rabb, your sustainer? Which they answer, yes, indeed, we do bear witness that you are our sustainer. We have that knowing to us that we are that we have a Rabb. Told that, why should you not believe in God when the messenger calls you to believe in your Rabb? It doesn't say in God. So the messenger calls us to believe in our Rabb. And we cannot truly believe in God, as we always say, unless we know him as our Rabb first. Or we believe in God to the extent that we know him as our Rabb. Which means that we know ourselves as Abd. We know, we are aware of our needs. We are aware that our needs are being taken care of. We are aware that whoever is taking care of our needs is our Rabb, and that's God. Only then God makes, we have a true connection with God. He's not only the creator of what's out there, but he's the creator of all what I have. So if my life is not mine, then everyone's life is also given and a trust. It works that way. So we get evidence from the afaq, from the outer world inside. Once we confirm it inside, then we project it out and we see everything through the mirror of the eye. And how does the messenger cause us to believe in our Rabb? Because he has been given clear messages from God, and that's what the next ayah tells us, it is He who bestows from on high. It is He who sends clear messages onto His servant, His abd, to lead you out of the deep darkness into the light. For behold, God is most kind or affectionate towards you, most merciful. هو الذي ينزل على عبده آيات بينات ليخرجكم من الظلمات إلى النور وإن الله بكم لرؤوف رحيم. So the messages are clear. And why is this significant? Because they lead us out of darkness into the light. And this is an indication of God's kindness and mercy. He is Ra'ufun Rahim, most kind, most merciful. The next ayah says, why should you not spend? So ayah 8 and 9 are about Iman. The first part of ayah 7 was Aminu, believe, and then give. أنفقوا. And in ayah 10, we are told, why should you not spend in the cause of God? This time it's specified, في سبيل الله, when the inheritance of the heavens and the earth belongs to God alone. وما لكم لا تنفقوا في سبيل الله ولله ميراث السماوات والأرض لا يستوي منكم من أنفق من قبل الفتح وقاتل أولئك أعظم درجة من الذين أنفقوا من بعد وقاتلوا وكلا وعد الله الحسنى والله بما تعملون خبير. So why should you not spend in the cause of God when the inheritance of the heavens and the earth belongs to God alone? Those of you who gave and fought before the victory are not like those of you who gave and fought afterwards. They are higher in rank. But to all of them, God has promised the ultimate good, al-husna. And God is aware of all that you do. So the inheritance of everything belongs to God only means the end, the result of everything is with Him alone. And this looks to belief in akhirah. The end of everything in this world and in the next. And so it is our illusion when we feel as though it's okay, God gave me everything and I have that I have, but what if it ends? What if it's not okay? It's not enough. Then we hold on to we don't want to give. And there is some giving. But I cannot give, it is a clear sign that I truly believe that it is given to me. It's being given to me right now. Because if it's being given to me right now, there is that abundance, that constant flow of giving and givenness, then there is no reason not to give. And when we are not giving, we are stuck in the illusion that is ours. And so that illusion, that the world will last forever. And so we store property for tomorrow. I may need it tomorrow, but I may not be here tomorrow. We can only live in the now. So accordingly, whether we live 1 year or 10 years or 100 years, at the end, we do not inherit anything. God, the inheritance of everything belongs to Him because nothing is ours. Right now, nothing is ours, not even our lives. Everything around me, I think it's mine, but actually they all depend on my connection with life. If I die right now, if I leave the world, I leave them all behind. They're not mine anymore. So we need to repeat this again and again until that illusion is dispelled. So this belief, this illusion, let's say, is the result of a perception of a static world and events. But God is the sovereign over everything here and now. He gives us here and now. He's the Rabb and the sustainer of everything, including ourselves and our life here and now. He's the first and the last, the evident and the hidden, as we were told in Ayah 3. And with this belief in God, as we are taught in this surah, it becomes easier to spend fi sabilillah in God's way in all circumstances, in all times of hardship, and not only in times of ease and plenty. Although, subhanallah, Allah in His kindness, He says, yes, those who spend in times of hardship are better than the other ones, but everyone will be rewarded with the best, subhanallah. So when we are aware that God, our Rabb, is truly the owner of everything here and now and forever, and that all comes from Him and returns back to Him, and we give with that awareness, then we are told it is as though we are offering a goodly loan to God, subhanallah. How can we possibly offer a loan to God when He is the sole owner of whatever exists? Through intention. The intention to spend it, whatever we are given, life, talent, time, property, everything, abilities, in His name and under His guidance, with the belief and awareness that He alone is the owner of everything. When we spend it as Khalifa, as representative of God on earth, then only it becomes as though we were offering a loan. Then such a giving multiplies bi'idhnillah. It has lots of barakah. There are lots of ayats how it yields. It is multiplied many folds, and in the next ayah.
Isn't this goodly loan some kind of submission? I mean, so that goodly loan, of course, I mean, so everything comes from Him, but doesn't it mean like, okay, after confirming all that stuff before, I can hand myself over?
Myself and everything that I have, yes. But it's like, can you see the kindness? Just before it says, Allah is Ra'ufun Rahim, He is most kind, affectionate, and merciful, and compassionate. And here He's saying, like, if you offer God a goodly loan, مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَقْرُضُ اللَّهُ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا. There is nothing to offer God as a loan, everything is His. But still, in His mercy and compassion, He's saying, if you use it in the way I also, the intention and the decision and choice to spend with awareness that it's only trust, and use it in the best way, makes it as though it's a loan, when actually it is not.
I think I have a question here. To me, it sounds a little. Can I ask the question?
Yes.
So to me, it feels like that the verses before were kind of on the way. That okay, I understood theoretically that God is a giver, and this is why I can give food and maybe even money and things that I think that I need tomorrow. Okay, but there's always this. So I'm doing this, but there's always still some kind of resistance, because the next moment something else happens that reminds me too that I'm still not yet someone who completely fully submitted. Like for example, today in the morning my car stopped working, and of course, I mean, a car is something very essential, and if I would be a good believer, then I would say, yeah, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, and it will be given. But no, there was resistance. But this verse here, this verse 11, I mean, resistance, I mean, I panicked, right? So, but this verse here, so this 11 is kind of, then to me, that's my question. So it's kind of the moment when I say, okay, I get it. And then I'm ready to fully submit. So is that understanding correct?
What is it that made you realize, oh, no, I got it?
Yeah, that I'm panicking. That I think that resources are limited. That feeling, that shirk feeling, that feels like I'm close to hell.
Oh, I mean when you heard. I mean when you heard 11 of Surah Al-Hadid. read
Because
this
the ability,
ayah, when you heard it,
so there is really that I offer myself. So there is then so so before this I get it, okay, I get it, but okay, if I get it now, then I can offer. I mean, then I can say, okay, let's submit then.
it's also, there is that sense of, like, even if you didn't get it truly, like if you didn't get it 100%, that it's there is lots of compassion here, because as if God is saying, from one perspective, of course, because this ayah can be unpacked in very, very different ways. What comes to me right now is, even if you didn't get it 100%, you know, that nothing is mine, everything is given to me. And let's say I got it once, but we tend to forget. So we live with that awareness that it is given, but it is still mixed up with somehow, because it was entrusted to me, it's still somehow there is an ownership over my life, over everything that is connected to me. So as if Allah is saying, it's okay, as long as you give it back and use it in the right way. Like, it's not about totally clearing your perception of it. Just give it, because as I am even, okay, just give it to me as a loan, because even if I give it as a loan, as you said, as I am giving, in that giving, as we said earlier, mentioned earlier, I will learn that it is truly being given to me. And only when I give to someone, and then a new one comes, I give and a new one comes, I give and a new one comes, eventually I will realize that I am being given. Eventually I will realize that it is truly not mine. So it's not about waiting until you truly realize that everything is 100% God's, which means 0% it's not mine. We don't need to wait for that level in order to practice it. Practice, give. Offer it as a loan to God. Give it with this intention, as a beautiful, goodly loan. And it will multiply. There is even an encouragement which will multiply. فَيُضَاعِفُهُ, like manyfold. And this is repeated in the Quran many times, that everything that you give will be multiplied. And as I give and it is multiplied, eventually, if I have the right intention, if I live with awareness and consciously, with that willingness to know God and to surrender to God, the more I give, the more I would realize who the true giver is even through my act of giving will there will be a generous reward, as we saw before, because you realize that he is the giver, the eternally giver. That's in self, for the ruh, for the human heart, is a generous reward, apart from the multiplying of the blessing here. The true blessing is that knowing God and trusting and being at peace that someone is, my Rabb is taking care of me here and forever in the hereafter. That's the best reward. And the next ayah, in ayah 12, we are told, on the day when you shall see all believing men and believing women, there is a stress on this, an emphasis, with their light spreading rapidly before them. So they are not, they are walking, and the light is, as they walk, their path is enlightened. And it is true in this world as well, when we trust and believe. And on their right, and with this welcome awaiting them, a glad tidings for you today, gardens through which running waters flow, therein to abide, this is the supreme success, the supreme achievement. So this ayah describes the state of the believers and the state and their life achievements. And it can be understood, it has an aspect that looks to this life, here and now, and an aspect that looks to akhirah, because it's a yawma tara. It could be also understood, firstly, it is understood as in the hereafter. And the next ayah describes the state of the hypocrites in the hereafter, where everything is made clear. There is no way to escape the reality or ignore it anymore. On that day, the hypocrites, both men and women, will say to those who have believed, wait for us, let us borrow from some of your light. So they want to, as if, walk after them so that the light of the believers will also, they will benefit from it. But they will be told, go back and look for a light of your own. And thereupon a wall will be raised between them with a gate in it. Inside the wall, there is grace and mercy. And on the outside, there is torment and suffering. SubhanAllah. So for the believer, there is light and there is bushra, glad tidings, good news, and fawzun azim, and supreme achievement, great success and achievement. And يوم يقول المنافقون والمنافقات للذين آمنوا انظرونا نقتبس من نوركم قيل ارجعوا وراءكم فالتمسوا نورا فضرب بينهم بسور له باب باطنه فيه الرحمة وظاهره من قبله العذاب. So the hypocrites are told to go back to the world in order to get the light, because this is not a light that can be shared or given to others. It's a light that is put in the heart of the believer only. It is the light of Iman, the light of belief. It's given only to the believers, to those who live in this world with ihsan and believe. They believe in ghaib and have certainty in the life to come. So the believers, they are those who know that there is only one source of light. So they ask for help and light from God. They seek it from God, and in akhirah they get it from God as well. In this world, they know guidance and the light is from Allah. The hypocrites, even in akhirah, they are asking for the light help from God, from the believers, subhanAllah. That's sign that they get it even there. But they tell them, go back to the world, because the world is Dar al-Amal, the dunya is Dar al-Amal. It is the realm of action, of seeking, of getting to know God, to believe and to surrender and practice that Iman. Whereas Akhirah is Dar al-Jaza, is the realm of reward. You get the results, you get the results of the achievements, the glad tidings, the good news. It's over when we are there. After that, that's it. It's over. So Akhirah is the time to reap the reward. It's the time of Fawz al-Azim, of the great achievements. It's SubhanAllah, what attracts my attention the most is that the hypocrites are asking for the believers, why don't you ask for God, from God? And this is a good lesson for us. This is a message for us here and now, to strengthen our Iman here and now, because it will be too late then. And to live for Akhirah before it's too late, and before there is no coming back. So let us, inshallah, wake up and intend to live in surrender to the divine will here and now. And whenever we forget, to ask for forgiveness and make istighfar, inshallah.
If I understood the last verse correct, so the mercy in this kind of verses for me is in that it's there are these verses that kind of are very inviting, and then this is the verse that say, and really things are serious. So if you don't do the job, you fail. I mean, that's how it is. But I also like what you said, that so this wall between them, and that the world is a place where you actually do your exercises. So you can't take that shortcut. You can't go to Akhira without doing the job in the world. I mean, without really living your life. So it's nice to see this mercy in these verses.
Yeah. So this ayah is most ayahs about is for here and now. It will be too late. So that's why even when they look harsh, it's actually compassion, because it's telling us you don't want to be in this situation. You don't want to be to live your life with hypocrisy. It means we pretend it could be hypocrite not only towards other people but towards ourselves, lying to ourselves. Like we pretend, we think we are believers, but we don't live accordingly. We live as though we are staying here forever. We never remember that we may leave this world accordingly, because that belief is going to change all of our choices and priorities and decisions in life. And can you imagine how pathetic to ask for light from other people, from the believers, where you can ask directly from God? So in this world, may we live with that awareness and seek help and light and guidance from God, inshallah. And yes, it says there will be a wall separating the believers from the hypocrites. Hypocrites here can be understood as the weak of faith, and it is mercy for the believers. So the same wall, on one side it's mercy for the believer and suffering for the hypocrites. It means we could be all sitting in one place, and for the believer it is mercy, and for the hypocrite it is not. It is torment and suffering. It reminds me of a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when he says, "Wonderful are the affairs of a believer, for there is good in every affairs of his." This is not the case with anyone except a believer, he says. If he has an occasion to feel delight, he is grateful to God, he thanks, and thus there is good for him in it. If he suffers affliction, he endures it patiently, which is good for him. So whether it's good or bad, the believer is the one who seeks God's face in everything, and sees the face of everything that looks to God, that looks to his hikmah, to his wisdom and meaning. He finds meaning in everything, and he finds signs. He reads the signs in all what happens, the good and the bad. And so for everything is mercy and good for him. And you can imagine that when it's not a believer, even good things, forget about bad things anyway, they cause suffering and panic and fear. We know that. But even good things, there is this anxiety that they will leave us, that this is not forever, that they are transient, and they make us suffer as well. So let us let go of this way of living and strive to live with Iman and with Yaqeen, inshallah, and with that Iman in God, and therefore in His beautiful names, and therefore in Akhirah. And then the good and the bad all will lead the fruits of mercy and the fruits of paradise, inshallah. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. استغفر الله العظيم الكريم الرحيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم ونتوب إليه سبحانه. آمين. والحمد لله رب العالمين. Ramadan Mubarak again. May Allah fill it with the barakah of the Quran.
Thank you very much, Yamina. And So now I already had 2 questions, and maybe if someone else has a question or a comment, or then now that would be a good time. So if there's no one with a comment or a question, then that is of course missing, because usually it's nicer if there is someone with a question or a comment. So then we just hope that will be the case for next time. I really would like to encourage you to at the end of this session contribute somehow. And thank you all, and of course especially Sister Yamina, and continue having a good Ramadan with blessings and with guidance and with getting that message closer, digested.